Pastry often can seem very mundane, especially if you work in a professional pastry kitchen, because you are making hundreds of tarts at a time. But what I love about pastry and cooking is that it's actually 100 chances to try to do things better. I'm going to show you how to make one of my all-time favorite cakes, apple snacking spice cake. I love this cake for a lot of reasons, but one of the most important reasons is that it brings back such great memories for me. When I was in 4th grade, I loved my teacher, Ms. Davis, and at the end of the school year, I wanted to bake her something fabulous. But I was in 4th grade, and I didn't really know how to bake. So what I did was I went to the grocery store and bought a cake mix. I presented it to her, and she said, "Joanne, this is the best cake I've ever had, and I want the recipe." And I realized I had to tell her that it was a cake mix. So when I grew up and became a professional pastry chef, I said, I'm going to create the cake of my dreams and her dreams. And that is this apple snacking spice cake. I love this peeler because it's so easy to hold. It fits right in the palm of my hand, and the way in which it's shaped, and it's extremely sharp when I'm peeling an apple, I can just run the blade really easily and smoothly. So now that I've peeled the apples, I'm going to go ahead and slice them and also take out the core. And then I'm going to measure out the raisins. I'm just going to go ahead and measure them out right into this bowl. And I can smell the pecans. I think the pecans are almost ready, which is good timing. So, I think these are great. So I'm going to go ahead and just let these cool right on the cutting board. While they're cooling, we're going to get started with creaming the butter and the sugar together. So you just want to chop these roughly. You don't have to chop them up super fine. Now that the pecans are all chopped, I'm going to go ahead and scrape them into this bowl. I love, bench scrapers are really used for everything. I love them for chopping things. You could actually use the bench scraper to chop the pecans if you didn't have a knife. They're great for cleaning. They're great for just doing like I'm doing now and just taking your ingredients and getting them into your bowl. So let's combine all of the dry ingredients with all of the mix-ins. Toss all of that together. And let's use our spatula just to give it a quick mix together. I really love using a silicone spatula for this. It's really, really sleek and great for cleanup. So now we're going to mix all of this dry into the butter and sugar and eggs. And you can see that there's so much apple. That's what makes this cake incredible. It is full of fruit. So now I'm going to scrape the batter out into a 9-inch cake pan. And this pan is actually non-stick, so I can skip the whole step of buttering and flouring the cake pan. But you can see that it's already so like slippery that the cake's gonna bake in it and then come right out, which will be great. You can see how chock full of fruit this awesome batter is. So use the spatula to kind of spread the batter. It doesn't have to be super even, but it helps with the baking if you just spread it for a little bit. And now we're going to put this in a 350-degree oven for about 35-40 minutes. Once the cake is out of the oven, you want to let it cool completely on a cooling rack. You want to make sure that it's cool completely because if you try to invert it when it's still slightly warm, it might actually break apart. So give it time to cool completely. And then to invert it, you actually need 2 plates. You need a plate that you're going to invert on, and then you need your serving plate. And now the last step is to give it one final finishing touch, a little sprinkle of powdered sugar. And so the whole process of coming up with a recipe is all about testing it once and then refining it and then refining it again until you finally get the perfect recipe.
Yum.